What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a beautiful day so far. So today I'm so excited because I'm finally talking about finances and just how to get to your goal towards financial freedom. I'm so passionate about this, and I embarked on this whole journey towards financial freedom quite a while ago. I literally made a whole plan for myself, and I've already achieved quite a few of my financial goals, and I've also just learned so much, and I thought I would share what I've learned. And this is episode 1 of this whole series because there's so much to cover. There's no way I'm gonna be able to do all of it in one video, and this video is probably gonna be super long. So just like grab a snack, something to drink, get comfy, because we're gonna talk about finances. Yay! So I embarked on this whole journey because, well, my breaking point was just that money stressed me out so much, and I was over it because like money is such a huge part of our day-to-day lives, and if anything to do with money stresses you out, then you probably live a pretty stressful life. Literally talking about money, thinking about money, seeing prices, paying bills, checking my bank account. Don't even mention my accountant to me. Who is she? Lovely girl, love her. She's so helpful, but like her call on my phone was like a panic attack almost. Like it was not pretty. And so I just reached a point where I was like, this is ridiculous, like I need to do something about this. And I started researching, and for me, as you guys know, I'm really into self-growth in terms of mental health and emotional health. So I thought I would start with what I know and just start with clearing out that whole side of things. So why did money stress me out so much? Where did that come from? What are my like limiting thoughts and beliefs about money? Do I feel like I'm worthy of having money? Like what is actually stopping me? Obviously there's so much about actually learning about how finances work and how to get out of debt, how to save, how to invest. That's a whole other thing, but I really felt like there was so many things in my mind and my subconscious mind that was just stopping me. I really believe that if there's parts of you that don't agree with other parts of you, like you're constantly it's gonna take so much more effort to get to where you want to be. I felt like I was holding myself back, so that's why I decided to start with this, and that's why today I thought the best thing I could do is share this. Before I get into these tips, I just want to give one last little example if that didn't make sense. So let's say that you believe that people who are wealthy or rich are just evil people who are self-centered, egotistical. Like so many people have this belief. It's kind of embedded in our culture, especially if you grew up in like middle or lower class. Like your parents may or may not have said that a few times. And so if, you know, that was constantly said, it's probably a part of your subconscious mind. A belief is when a thought reoccurs so many times that you start deeply believing in it. And especially when it's in your subconscious mind, you're not really oftentimes aware of it. So let's say you have that limiting belief. People who are wealthy are egotistical, self-centered, evil people, just like, ugh. And then consciously you want to reach your goals and you want to be wealthy. Your conscious mind really wants that, but then your subconscious mind believes that you're gonna be evil if you reach those goals. And so why would you allow yourself to get there? You're gonna start self-sabotaging and just like not allow yourself to get there. And if you do get there, it's gonna take a lot more effort than if you just cleared out that subconscious mind and started shifting those thoughts and believing that if you do reach those financial goals, you will be a beautiful person who's gonna help the world, or you know, whatever it is that you want. That is like it just even sounds nicer. Like the energy with that is just like, let's just do it, you know. Now let's get into what you can actually do right now. So this is what I started with, and it changed the game. Like I tripled my income just because of this, like just because I cleared out so many of my negative thoughts and beliefs. And I'm still actively doing that, but just this one sitting was like life-changing. I'm not exaggerating. So I got a fresh new journal just for this whole financial journey because I really wanted to be committed. And at first I just sat down and asked myself a few questions. So these are the questions I asked myself. How do I feel about money and why? How do I feel when I pay my bills? And then how do I feel when I see a high price on an item? How do I feel when I spend more than I intended? How do I feel when I check my bank account? And then the last question is, how do I feel like when I meet someone who's really, really wealthy? And that just gave me like a more clear idea of how I actually felt about money. Because the first question, how do I feel about money, is like super broad. It's not most likely going to give you a lot of answers unless you were in therapy for like years and years and years and you're used to digging up stuff. But for most of us, you need a few like follow-up questions. So I'm going to give you a little example just so this all makes a little bit more sense. So let's say that one of my answers to the questions, how do I feel when I check my bank account, is that I feel really scared and I feel stressed out. And I feel disgusted. And then I asked myself, why did that scare me so much? And my answer, let's say, was, I'm afraid I'll be broke. And then I asked myself, why would that be such a bad thing? That question is golden when you're trying to figure out your limiting belief. And then let's say my answer was, because I fear that I'm not going to be independent, and that makes me feel like I'm in a cage because in the past, like when other people took care of me, it wasn't done in a loving way. Let's say that was my answer. And then when you can no longer ask yourself, why would that be such a bad thing? Then you ask yourself, what would it mean if that were true? And then you really get to that core belief. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna question that belief. So you're gonna play devil's advocate. I pretend like I'm a little freaking scientist trying to figure out where this comes from. Where did I learn this? You know, did I learn this from my parents? Did I learn this from a stressful situation? Did my culture teach me this? Did my school teach me this? Like, wherever it comes from, just like writing it down, then you're able to see like, oh, okay, this actually comes from somewhere, and then question that. Like, why does my culture or my parents believe in this? Your core beliefs are either beneficial or detrimental. And so figuring out, is this a belief that I want to have? And questioning if it's true to you. A lot of the times these beliefs, we learn them when we're really young, and so we don't even question them. It just becomes a part of us and our truth. And so now your adult self or your older self can look at that and be like, do I have to believe in this? And so let's say you find out that your core belief is that because you're a woman, you can't make a lot of money. And you realize that you learned this from your mother. Your mother kept saying that because she felt trapped in that role as a woman, as a mother. She felt like she left behind her career, making money to take care of her family and be a wife. And that, with reason, because she experienced it, became her truth. And then she kept saying that when you were growing up, like, women can't make a lot of money, men are greedy, whatever it is. And so now you can, you know, look at yourself and be like, does that have to be true for me? If you don't want that, then it's really, really important to question that. And then finding reasons why that belief is not true. Literally be like, point one, it's not true for me because I know so many women who are really successful and they also have a family or a husband or whatever you want. And then point B, my mom deliberately chose to be a mother and a stay-at-home mom. I don't have to do that, and so therefore that belief doesn't have to be true for me. So you're just going to give yourself as many examples as you can find, as much proof as you can find as to why that belief is not true. And when you're writing those proof points down, write as much as you can, like go into detail, explain why this is not true. That's really going to start moving things in your brain. If you just write down point one, blah, 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 point two, blah, 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 it's not really going to set in. So really go into detail, explain yourself. Why is this your new truth? Or why is that thing false? And then once you do that, you're going to write down your new belief. This is going to be like your affirmation, and the affirmations can be amazing, but they can also not work if you do it wrong. So let's say you're broke right now, and then you're going to write down an affirmation, I'm rich. most of the time, like, you're not dumb. You're gonna read that and you're gonna be like, this is friggin' bullshit. Like, no, I'm not. And so when if you have that reaction, it's not the right affirmation. It has to be a step up from what you previously believed, so that you actually believe that you can reach that. This affirmation should be something that really feels right, and when you read it, you're like, ah, this is amazing. So just like sit down, take your time, write down something that really feels right, and like one sentence is perfect, short and sweet, and then you can just repeat that to yourself every morning, every night. The next questions that I ask myself is, what did my parents teach me about money? What was their relationship to money? How did they feel about money? And then what do I think their beliefs and thoughts were about money? And then once you have those answers, ask yourself, is there a part of me that thinks or believes that too? And then just do the whole practice that I outlined before, getting to that core belief and then questioning that and finding proof for why, you know, that belief is not necessarily beneficial or true for you, and then writing down a new belief, turning it into an affirmation, and then just repeating that to yourself until it's really, really like stuck in there. And by the way, you can do this changing your beliefs practice when it comes to anything in your life, not just financial freedom. I learned a lot of this in therapy, and then a huge part of it is from this book. So I want to give credit where credit is due. So this is Shadows Before Dawn by Teal Swan, and it is the chapter Jail Bars of Belief. So this book is amazing. If you're interested more in stuff like this, definitely check it out. Also, by the way, Skillshare has a lot of really good classes on finances and that whole thing. So if you're interested, I'll have a link down below. This video is not sponsored, but I do have a link where you can get 2 months for free. So if you want to get a few more resources, check that out. It's going to be in the info box. And then the last 2 questions that I asked myself were about my worth and my deserving of, you know, my goals. And again, the same process applies, but the questions are, do you believe you're deserving of having X amount of money, and why? So why yes, why no? And really go in there, because like at first a lot of the times the answer can be like, yeah, obviously I'm deserving of it, but then when you actually like really think about it, sometimes a lot of fears and like self-sabotage can come up. So just kind of, you know, play a little therapist and like figure out, is that really true? And then the last question is, do you think you're worthy of or good enough to make X amount, so your goal amount of money? And then do the same whole process that I explained before. Now that you know, have all this, and you don't have to do this in one sitting in one day, that's quite a lot, so you know, take your time. But once you're done with all these questions, just be aware of your thoughts and beliefs as you just go about your normal day-to-day life. So obviously we encounter money all the time, and so it's not going to be hard to do this. I have literally like notes on my phone where, you know, let's say I spend way more money than I thought I would, and certain negative thoughts or beliefs pop up. If it's the first time I'm hearing about them, I write them down into my notes. And then another thing that I do, which I'm going to talk more about in an upcoming video, I do a lot of meditations and visualizations, I can't say that, when it comes to my financial goals. And a lot of the time when I'm doing that, certain negative beliefs and thoughts can pop up. So I write those down as well. But then if they are old negative thoughts and beliefs that I already uncovered but are still not fully like gone, because changing beliefs is like changing habits. It takes time. Sometimes you can do so much in one sitting, but sometimes it can take a while. Like it can take repetition for you to change them. And so for that, I really recommend, and this is my last tip, to create a little game plan when certain negative thoughts and beliefs that you're already aware of pop up. And so for example, I wrote down a little practice. So let's say I spend way too much than I thought, and I get really stressed out. Step 1, take 3 deep breaths. Step 2, remind yourself that you're in the process of changing that belief. Step 3, let the emotions rise up and express them. Step 4, repeat positive calming affirmations. So those would be the affirmations that you picked out when we were doing that whole changing your beliefs process. And then the last one is remind myself of my goals. That's again just gonna kind of calm me down and be like, okay, I'm working towards that. It's worth it to, you know, deal with this, even if it's uncomfortable or just like yucky. It's worth it because I'm gonna get there one day, and I'm so excited for that. In a future financial freedom video, I'm gonna get into like daily routines and habits that you can do if you really wanna, you know, get to those goals and really commit. But one of the things that I would definitely recommend is to write all those affirmations that you wrote down in that practice. So literally all of them, write them down in one like little card or something, or on your phone, and then just read them every morning and every night. It's just like a good way to stay on track and to remind yourself of what you're actually changing, and then it's easier to go throughout your day and, you know, make those changes happen. Okay, that's it for today's video. I know this was probably a lot and pretty long, but I just really wanted to give you as much info as I possibly could and really explain everything so that you can actually take something from this video. I'm really excited about this series. I love talking about this stuff, so if you have any questions or any requests when it comes to this series, definitely let me know. Don't forget to check out the Skillshare classes. If you want 2 months for free, you can use that link. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, hope you found it helpful, and I'm gonna see you in my next one. Bye.
Take my hand and hold it tight. Look at the paintings, I'll be your guide.